Hello Internet, so nice to see you. How do you go about transcribing chord progressions? How do you hear if a chord is the tonic or the dominant or the subdominant? How can you listen to a song by ear and then transcribe those chords onto your guitar? Lots of people will tell you it's just practice. Well, yes, thank you. That's perfectly correct. But what exactly? What exactly we should practice? Okay, because if you cannot hear, for instance, the difference between a major and minor chord, I can play major and minor chords at random for you, and you can try to transcribe them randomly, but we are not going anywhere, right? See, that's the problem. Where do you start? How do you get started in hearing chords, harmonies, and chord progression? A student of mine asked me exactly that. He had already a decent ear in transcribing melodies, so single note things, but he had no idea how to go about understanding chords and transcribing those. And this is the answer I gave him.
I find it very difficult to pick up harmony by ear. So if it's like simple bar chords or open chords, triads, major and minor, then I can figure it out, but it still takes a lot of trial and error. But if it's like arpeggiated chords or the timbre is different, like overdrive or other instruments, it's a lot harder. So I want to be able to do that very quickly, and I want to be able to figure out the exact voicing of the chord. Like so sometimes when I'm transcribing by ear, I thought that it was a major chord. Later on, when I looked it up, I found that it was actually a sus4 or a sus2.
Yes,
So
that's very normal.
right. I want to be like super fluent at this.
Okay, it's gonna take a little bit of time. Okay, not saying no.
Right.
There's more than one possible approach to this. Okay, and it also depends how you go about this. But from what you're saying and the way you phrase this, and from what you're saying right now, you are pretty much first finding the general chord progression, so essentially the base of the chord, and then you're trying to build up the upper structure in your mind, at least. But that's what I gather. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're already at a pretty good level, because even just picking up the bass line, okay, or picking up the roots of the chord in general, it's pretty difficult. If you can do that, you are at a good level already. Okay, we just need to specify more. Now, the problem with that is you cannot transcribe chords that you cannot play yourself or generate yourself, because you never hear them, you never play them. Okay, you cannot just rely on somebody else to play them for you and then learn them. Okay, so you have to go the opposite direction. It's gonna sound like a roundabout way, but it's actually the fastest way. And the idea is this: you want to transcribe either just the bass line or just the melody, and then reconstruct the rest of the thing, starting from scratch, forgetting about the real song and just thinking, how would I harmonize that? Okay, if the bass line is that's the bass line, you're thinking, how would I harmonize that? I would do probably this. Okay, in detail, a major chord in first inversion, another major chord, and another major chord, but avoiding the parallel motion. You want the idea of what I just played, okay? I could do different things, of course. Same bass, different melodies, etc., etc. You wanna take just the bass, forget about the song, make it an exercise and harmonize it, and so find chords that work with the bass line, and maybe find more than one solutions to that.
Okay.
This way you're gonna build up vocabulary in a sense. Like if I have this bass line, that's how it sounds if I do it this way. That's how it sounds if I do it the other way. Then pick just the melody. And from the melody, reconstruct the chords, a bass line, and try different bass line that fit that melody, and see what happens. Yeah. So the point is, you cannot just transcribe. I mean, you can, if you have a great ear, just transcribe everything by listening to it. But it's easier to transcribe thinking like, this piece of music has been composed by somebody. If I learn to think like a composer, it's easier for me to transcribe. And in the process of learning to think like a composer, harmonizing melodies and bass line, you're playing a lot of chords, in a lot of different positions, in different inversions, etc. And so you start recognizing the sound of those chords. If you never play a melody and harmonize it with suspended second chord, it is very hard then to recognize the suspended second chord when it happens in a real song. Because maybe you know the sound in isolation. When it happens in the song, it's hard to recognize. See what I mean?
Yep.
So you have to build it the other way, like a composer. It is not that hard to do, and it's actually a lot of fun. Okay, that's the good news. Okay,
Yeah.
and indeed, one great exercise you can do, especially again if you're transcribing a specific song, is just take the song and reharmonize it. Which, since you don't know the original harmony, you are just harmonizing it. Okay, but try different thing, and you are going to stumble on some of the original harmonization. Like I was saying before, I was creating an arrangement for a specific song. I didn't even go and listen to the original version. I remember the melody, and I just put in the chords that felt more natural to me. Turns out they are the original chords at the end of the day, but I could have done something different, and it would have worked anyway. But by doing it this way, you learn to recreate the rest of the song, listening to only one element. If the rest of the song is exactly what you would reconstruct after you get this experience, then you know what it is. And if it's not, then you can go and listen with more attention and make the difference from where you are to what it is.
What you were saying, I remember it as in it wasn't an exercise in one or more of the sessions of the complete chord mastery.
Yes.
Something
Yes,
similar,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. I mean, you learn a lot doing that, okay? If you take a melody... Simple melody. I'm gonna harmonize only up to here. Okay, now that's a possible harmonization. I'm playing a G, it's in G major right now, so first chord in first inversion. And I'm gonna play E minor 7, so sixth chord. And I'm gonna play the fifth of the chord to create a 5-1 in this chord. But I can also do second, fifth, first in the key of the fourth. Okay, but I can also do play the chord in root position. And actually no, let me do it. Anticipate the. Sorry, wait again. Anticipate the second bar before. Actually, no, wait. Right on substitution. Okay. And then you start applying all those procedures to the melody. So when it happens in real life, you recognize it. You know those sounds. You've heard those sounds. But you will never have thought that's a 2-5-1 in the key of the subdominant unless you did it by yourself. Because it just comes out of the blue. Like, it's a strange chord from where it comes from. Okay? But if you learn to recognize, for instance, the 5-1, you can recognize that. Okay? That's actually how I started doing ear training. I learned to recognize whenever I could hear a 5-1 in major and minor keys. And then that was my starting point. And then I recognize the 2-5-1 or the 4-5-1, okay, etc., etc. And then gradually everything else. But I just took something that it was really recognizable and learned to recognize that.
Is it okay if you associate a certain sound with a certain song? So like you're playing secondary dominants, right?
Yeah.
When I hear that sound, I think of Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Sure.
Because I can associate that sound with that song. So
you can. It's useful, but it's better if you have more than one song because the melody note changes. And so the same chord progression can sound in several different ways if you change the melody note or if you put different inversions on it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure you have more than one example.
All right.
But that's the idea. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Minas.